Welcome, Jeremy, to the Higher Talent Substack. I was really inspired last night as we got to know each other with your journey, and I'd love to have that shared with the audience. Can you kind of start with how you got there and what you're doing now?
Yeah, so as we talked about last night, I have a unique journey that most people, when I tell them the journey, they're like, "How did you end up where you're at today, doing, enterprise programs, contingent staffing work?" So I went to school to be a psychologist. That was my ultimate goal, was to be a psychologist. So I have a doctorate in organizational behavior and leadership psychology. Really, my goal was to focus is helping coaching and develop performance of individuals. But throughout my career, I spent a little time in the Army, found my way through the Army, and then made my way into some nonprofit work. Worked for some great organizations. Made the switch to financial services. Did a little bit of sales and banking, and now I'm here on this side where I'm focused really on the relationship aspect, and I think that's a big part of what every role that I've had is about building relationships and growing those relationships. I always make it a process when I come to these type of events to meet somebody new. I met you and your team the other day, which was fantastic, and build that relationship, see over time to see if there can be some partnership or some synergy with us.
I love it. So, did you study psychology and then go to the Army, or was it the other way around?
So I went into the Army.
Yeah.
I did a couple years in college and then went into the Army. Um, I wasn't. I'll say this: I wasn't a great student early in my college career, and then the Army made me become a great student. So it taught me that discipline that I needed. So when I left the Army, I decided to go to college and decided to get my master's. My initial focus, blow your mind even more. My initial focus before I turned to psychology was I was going to work for local governments. So I was going to be a politician. I worked on several campaigns, and that was my ultimate goal. But then I started looking at the aspect of how you can build and develop performance, and that's what took me down the path to get my doctorate, to focus on how can we build people up.
I love it. I also love that you're passionate about political policy, because I do think we do need younger leadership in that. And we won't go too far into that because I don't want to get us in trouble. But the fact that you had military service, you served our country, which is an honor, and then psychology piece, and now you also have the business side of it. Like, it's the perfect combination to go in that.
Yeah,
that direction.
it's been a fun journey, and I don't know where my journey will continue. That's often, I hear it from people all the time. My family, friends, they're always like, "So what's next for you?" I've been with my firm for 8 years, and I'm having a blast. It's been a great time, driving it and driving change within our organization. And once again, I always bring it back to the importance of relationships, and that's what I've been able to do is build relationships to drive that change.
So, do you have any pointers for new managers who are trying to build out some sort of change in the organization, especially from a procurement standpoint? Because there's always resistance to change the way things are done. So, put your psychology hat on and give us some advice around that.
Yeah. So the most important thing that I tell people, any new leaders that I work with, is always remember your team. Your team is the most important element of any part of your day to day. And take the time out to ask your team, are they okay? How are they doing? And go beyond that. Okay, I'm good. I'm fine. Right. We often hear those when somebody says, "How's your day going?" Good. What's good about it? Right. That's always my challenge. When somebody said it's good, I'm like, what's good about it? Right. What challenges are you facing today? And once you take that time to get to know your team, and that's what I'll say for any new leader, once you get to know your team, then you can help guide that change management. But when they're not your direct reports and you're trying to change within an organization, especially in the space that we are, is helping people understand the rationale behind it, right? People want to know, one, why is this so important that we're changing? And two, how does that change impact me? Right. And you have to tailor that communication to your audience. The message is not the same. I teach a change management class, and I've told my students there that, like, the message for the CFO is not the same message for the frontline associate, right? The CFO wants to know, how much is it going to cost me? How much is it going to impact my bottom line? And the frontline associate wants to know how it impacts their role, right? Is it more work for them? Is it less work? And when you can help people understand that, they'll start to embrace it. And then the other element is find a champion. If you can find a champion of your change initiative, they can help be that voice for you. And it's not, oh, it's just coming from Jeremy. No, it's everyone around Jeremy is saying the same message, which makes it comfortable. And the one message that I always tell people is, and it's quite evident because the message was kind of here this week through this conversation was we often think about today, but we have to start planning for what's tomorrow, right? We can't, our policies and procedures, the way we approach our associates today, we have to look at what that associate tomorrow is going to look like and be prepared for that. And I think that's a part where a lot of times us as leaders, we struggle because we only want to focus on the now and not what it will look like in the future.
Yeah. No, that's great advice. And then there's a lot of change going on in the industry right now, especially with the adoption of AI. Are you using AI within your organization, or are you asking your team to use AI?
So we're on the early beginning of our AI journey at our firm. I personally have embraced AI from the initial onset of Chat GPT, right? The most simplistic. But I think what I'm trying to help my team understand is to learn about what AI can do. And not look at as it's going to take your job or it's going to replace me or it's going to do something I can't. How can you use that tool? I've been taking the time to learn different prompts and what the prompts mean. And it's so amazing how that prompt changes the direction of whatever AI component that you're going to do. But we got to get to a point where we start to look at things that improve our process, and AI can do that. Like I said, my firm is on the early journey of it, but we're seeing it be embraced across the board.
Is your team like resistant towards it, or are they embracing it? Or are they?
No, my team is excited. My team is excited about the use of AI. They see it as, once again, they see it as a tool to make their jobs easier. And when you can make somebody's jobs easier, then you can use the talent that they have to do something else in the organization to drive change.
Amazing. And then what are you looking to get out of this conference, and what were some of the topics that you thought were interesting here today?
So I said one of the most important things that I think I take away from this conference is the relationships that I've built. I always go in, like I said at the beginning, to try to find people that I can connect with and engage with and get to know, accomplish that, right? I met some great people this week. And I think the next step with them is trying to understand, because I'm new to this space. So my goal is to try to continue to learn as much as I can about this world and how I can add value to it and bring people together. I often like to consider myself a matchmaker, right? I get a lot of people that come to me and say, hey, I want to do business with you, with your firm. And I'm like, that's great. But if I don't have an opportunity, let me introduce you to somebody else that might have an opportunity. And that's what I've been able to do this week is connect other people to help them build their relationships and network as well. So it's been fun.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much. This is really insightful, and we're going to share this with the community.
All right. Thank you. Appreciate your time today.
Absolutely.